Hey homies, what's up? Welcome to anyone watching. I'm Ryan Wynn, coloring Hammerella pages. We are going to be listening to sorry. I wanted to show you who we're going to be listening to. Institute 91. The Institute 91.bandcamp. Bandcamp.com. All right. Back to Procreate and back to getting some of my work done. I've brought in another page from the scene because I hadn't really created a palette for the entire scene yet when I did this page. So I'm going to be drawing some of the, and by drawing I mean pulling some of the colors from this page into this palette. Turn down the tunes just a bit. Anyone watching, feel free to ask questions. I'll be working for a bit and then diving into the chat to see if there are any questions or comments. All right, so I'm deciding which panel I want to do the flats in first. Looks like I already screwed up my layering. There was a Procreate update, and now you can import the picture into that layer. It used to just create a new layer. I keep forgetting it doesn't do that anymore, so new flats layer. I do recommend always taking the time to label your layers. You will thank yourself later. Renaming the old flats as color sample. Bam. All right, so we have our Hammerella palette here. I'm gonna go in and do my freehand selection of all the Hammerellas. We're gonna zoom in here. Now she may not end up being her skin tone in this tiny little image, but for right now, for the flats, that's how I'm going to identify her. I'm doing sort of a dotted method. Whoops, the wrong layer. Where I kind of dance around, tap, 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 tap around the image. Sometimes I will draw on the glass. Just depends on which direction the stroke is. But I find lightly tapping your way around is sort of the easiest in the long haul. And you know me, always looking for the best, the most economic route for my hand, my back, my shoulders. And I tend to close off sections at a time, so I don't have to move the canvas around much in between, I guess, selection strokes. And this is always the part of the process where colorist Ryan starts noticing all the lines that inking Ryan missed. And he becomes very judgmental of these things. But that's okay, because inking Ryan and penciling Ryan have it out all the time, so it's not a peaceful studio over here. Colorist Ryan doesn't so much have a problem with penciler Ryan, but inker Ryan in the middle causes enough drama for the two of them. All right, here her leg and arm overlap, so we can start expanding the selection. So don't worry, you're not going to have to watch me flat the whole page. I'm going to probably do this panel first in its entirety. Looks like we got some friends showing up. I will be in the chat to say hello in just a minute. If you're just showing up, the tunes are provided to us by the Institute 91. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. They have given us permission to use their music, by the way. They did an awesome soundtrack for City of Rot, which is by Spencer Desmond and Jeff Elkins. Dudes over the dudes from Death Curse. And they are edited by the girl from Death Curse, Kayla Adrian. All right, so boom, there we go. Colored, we're done. See you guys later. Now we're going to go ahead and select this sort of button that holds her toga in place and her belt as well. And this is why I like to just tap it around, because you don't have to have perfect brush strokes like when you're inking. You can just kind of like tick, 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 and you don't, you have to hit like 4 spots on a curve to get it to go around. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. And we're going with the darker orange here. We're going to drop that in, drop that in. There is an option to fill the layer, but you have to go up to your layers. Let me get up there. Looks like my camera dropped a little. You have to go up to your layers and then fill layer, but sometimes it's quicker just to drag and drop the color. All right, next we are going to be coloring her toga, selecting that, and now that these two colors are already laid in, we can cut over and across them thusly, like this. And drop it in. Oh, crud. See, that's a problem with Procreate. This is why I should be using a mask layer and stuff. I filled it in with the wrong yellow, and when you go to jump back, it eliminates your selection. Keep that in mind. Yeah, all of my, my few friends that are professional colorists at the big two, they love the result of my coloring. They hate all of my techniques. And I know what that's like when I see certain people's inking techniques. I'm like, what are you doing? Excuse me. Oops. All right, I'm gonna go Going close on the eyes now. And these are going to be almost white in the same hue as her flesh. I'm going to go in on the lips. I have this warmer violet that we'll put in. And again, these are just the flats. My colors tend to run a little flat, but we will be giving some shades, some highlights, and then some hard lights. That's not actually the tone I want. What do we do? See, this is why I've got that page. Ah, there we go. It's a grayer tone. This looks like she had some kind of weird lipstick on. Because sometimes the color can, look correct if up in the palette. But then when you put it next to a color or surround it with a different color, it changes how it looks in your eye. So we're gonna go back up. Now we're gonna drop in a little bit for her teeth right there. Go to the dark perp, as I call it. And whoops, select. Use the dark purple for her hair. Get that dark perp against the light perp. And boom, drop it in. All right, now I'm going to do the bird's feet. These are going to be orange for now. Not just feet, sorry, I'm going to be doing the birds in their entirety. These birds are going to be on fire, just like their mother, the Ember Hawk. But I'm going to still do an old comic coloring technique on them for this particular scene, where they are going to be colored darker to seem more imposing on her and to also frame her in their sort of silhouette. And that way you look past them and directly at her. So a lot of times in old comics, that'll be done with using like a dark blue, sometimes even just a straight cyan, depending on what colors they're using to color the other figures or the scene. But it's generally just any hue, just a darker value. Excuse me. Fill that in, make sure I got everything right. All right. Double this. And again, I will be getting to any questions in the chat in just I should have said a couple minutes, but it will be just a minute now. I'm moving pretty quick through this. So I just want to get this other side and start to get a sense of what it looks like with any color added to it. Because you go into these things with certain stuff in mind, and sometimes even just a hint of color brings new ideas to you. A hint of color. All right. All right, so I got the figures blocked in. And you can see even now, just excuse me, even now, just framing them or coloring them in with the darker color than the white, you can see how it's going to frame her nicely. And the eye will take you past that and zoom you into her, and then you'll see her point of view, which is terrifying. All right, let's see who's here, who's showing up. Yo, Jay Krager, Hammer fame. We know you meant yo, brother. Welcome if you're still there. Good to see you. Good to see your words typed out. Did you miss me? Of course I missed you, Colin. Anytime I'm not online, I miss Colin. So I spend a lot of my time offline talking about Colin. Johnny Fitz in the house. Johnny has joined in on some of our ink-alongs, even added some color to them, stepping it up a notch, being brave enough to take on the challenge. We are doing well, Johnny. Hope you are as well. You should challenge them to a headbutting contest. Who, me? I would win. I have a giant half Welsh cranium. My head would crush anything. Winner takes the bragging rights. You're all winners. Take those bragging rights. Does the penciler tell the inker to fix the mistakes? Sometimes. Depends how the penciler's just general attitude is. I've worked with people that didn't notice their mistakes and didn't notice if I fixed them. I worked with people who didn't want their mistakes fixed and would sometimes try to defend them, get mad at me if I fixed them after, they'd get mad after the fact. Yeah, a lot of times you really have zero communication, though, I'd say. Kind of modern comics, a lot of it is just like you may chat with the person on Twitter. If they're on Twitter, the penciler I worked with for years before I kind of quit being an inker was, my last penciler was Trevor Hairsign, and he has zero social media presence. So we only talked through emails, and yeah, he was always very gracious, very honest. By far my favorite penciler to work with. Hail, Silvar Ogre. Welcome. All ogres are welcome. We do not hold anything against ogres. We in fact, we like ogres. I have a cousin that's an ogre, so I know what that life is like. So mad respect, Silvar. Hey, Jobu. Always good to see Jobu in the house. My man, Death Curse. I didn't get the links in. This was kind of a quick thing. I had an opportunity to go live to color, so do check out. Click on Death Curse. Give him a follow. He, Kayla, and Jeff do a lot of funny stuff over there. Sometimes Kevin Castanero stops in with them. Sometimes I stop in with them. And I will be stopping in with them a little more regularly in the next few weeks. Man, I hate when I accidentally scroll. All right, scrolling back past everything I already read. All right, yeah, hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. Everyone, we're all having bad days, so we'll all get through it. All right. Hey, see you on Skits tomorrow. Yes, everyone, I will be on Skits tomorrow. That's another thing. I got to get better at dropping in the links when I do these impromptu live sessions. Finally caught a color. All right, Nick, we'll get right back to it then. I just wanted to say hello to everyone. My homie Rockvox in the house. These birds are on fire. I'm good. I would respond faster, but I got lost watching. Hey, brother, I get lost working. So that's how it is. No problem. No biggie. All right. All right. Enough of that. All right. Thank you, Colin. Always funny. All right, I'm going to get back to it then, since this is supposed to be a coloring tutorial. I'm going to go one notch higher on the music, and I'm going to talk a little quieter. Let's see. I did forget to add a layer for background. I like to have a background that's just the panels. It's like the flat color for the panel. Rename. BG for background. All right, for this one, we're going to go into the oranges, but we're going to go a little bit grayer with it and a little bit redder with it. Going to use our rectangle selection tool. All right, so this is going to have a glow to it. Actually, we do have some different aspects I need to add to this. We'll do that with our freehand tool. There will be an element of the sky that I kind of forgot here. This will allow us to color in the flames. Select that area as well. Oops. So there is a dude, I think his name's Mike Henry, colors in Procreate and does great tutorials. But I learned a lot of the technical stuff from just watching tutorials, and Procreate's pretty intuitive too. So things you think it would do, it does. Like I really like that the page responds like a real piece of paper. I do wish you could lock it into specific sizes, but what you gonna do? You can't have everything. Okay, so now that's selected. I'm still deciding. See, this is I'm deciding if I want to highlight these or flat out these separate flames. I think I'm going to. All right. Even if I don't end up using it, it's good for the demo, and I won't know if I like it or dislike it till I try it. Because they are just part of the background, and I do kind of want the background to kind of just be all glowing, kind of a similar tone and color. But it'll only take a minute. A lot of professional colorists hire people to do this part of the process for them, called flatting. Especially when you're doing it professionally, it does pay to have someone else do it. It doesn't cost much, and the people that do it, they do that full time, so they're super fast at it. But for me, it's just takes about an hour more per page for me to do it myself. Yeah, save myself a little dough. And I'm gonna work on this for a few more minutes, probably another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll get back to the chat. So tomorrow I will be on the Skits channel. If you're not following them, if you're not subscribed to them, you should be anyways, because their channel is a ton of fun. They do all kinds of reviews, interviews, and well, that's basically it. Reviews and interviews. But they have a great energy. They're really fun. Their sense of humor is great. I'm really looking forward to the kind of questions they're going to bring at me. I love their energy. Their book Skits is looks amazing. I can't wait for it. Anyone watching this after the live will definitely have a link below for their channel. All right, we're going to do the fill option here. There we go. So, without width. Yeah, I think we're going to keep that like that for now, and then we are going to freehand select again. Up here at the top of the nest where the flames are, I'm just going to kind of round out some shapes, bring that around, drop in that yellow. All right, yeah, I'm happy I did that. I was going to go in and paint it, and I mean, I still am, but this gives me a good idea of the separations and stuff. So let's go in and clean up a little. Now everyone's still super bummed that Kanye didn't win. I'm right there with you. Man, the way I thought for sure he had it. I thought for sure. But, you know, that was going to be free Yeezys for everyone. What am I doing here? I'm making stupid jokes and I'm forgetting what I'm actually doing. Fill layer. And it looks like I rushed some of these selections, so I'm going to clean them up by hand. I don't mind. Sometimes I like, here, I'm actually going to leave the last one. Sometimes I like this effect, where there's a little bit of color that seeps over because it kind of mimics when the color plates would not line up on old newsprint comics. So it's one of the reasons I do kind of a loose job with my flats on certain areas. I definitely go tighter in faces and hands and things like that. Oh, I see Roxbox has to bounce. Hey, take care, brother. Always good to see you. Be good to yourself. And make sure you have clean underwear on when you go out. You never know what's gonna happen. All right, let's get this piece of wood highlighted too that she's reaching for. Kind of like in old animation things where you're like, oh, I know they're gonna grab that piece because it's the only background piece that's flat color and not hand painted. All right, I think I want to go a darker red. Darker red on our chicks just for a sec to see what that looks like. Of course, they're still going to have a highlight to them. I'm going to go brighter on this too, on the nest. Whoops. Whoops. How did that happen? Oh, that's my background color, duh. All right, there. Actually, I like that much more. Yep, that's the effect I was actually going for. It's all about getting that the tones right, the value right, the level of gray and white in the colors that you're using against each other. This is how it looks without the lines. And it does what I had intended. It frames her in this sort of A shape. So you push past them towards her, and then we get her POV again. And that's just a classic two-shot camera move. And then this camera, or this shot, is back to that one camera. So this is camera one, this would be camera two. So I'm always keeping that sort of stuff in mind too. I don't want to, even though you want the camera to move around, you still want to keep it clear, the line of action clear, and you want to keep it pleasant for your reader. You want them to feel discombobulated. All right, so the next thing we do is the shade and the tone. So before I get into that, let me see what we got going on in the chat. Hey, Simonin7, welcome, brother. One of my favorite chat personalities. Hopefully we all do someday. Hopefully we all do. Death Curse. I'm looking at job posting for writing in games, LOL. It looks like he wants to punish himself more with more work. Spencer Desmond is one of the busiest creative people I know, but he's always making awesome stuff. So, I'm not gonna tell him what to do. Hey, look at that. Even Simonin knows. Hey, Spencer. Dude, you're always doing something. That's energy. Yeah, well, Spencer's 17 years old. He's young. He's still energetic. He's got that energy. You know, this is what my wife told me when I said, I'm going to write myself in. That's going to be my new thing. I'm going to write myself in for president. And she said, I'm not going to write you in for president. And of course, Death Curse thinking he's not busy enough. I feel like I know what this is, and I should know what this is. All right, you'll let me know. I'm getting back into this. We're going to add our shade first. So what I am going to do is I am going to be automatically selecting the background by accident. Smooth move. All right, going to be selecting her skin tone. Going to go up into shade. Everything. I want everything in the red here. Go really warm on her shadow. Or on her shade layer. Mind you, these are some techniques I've swiped from people and learned from people. Some techniques I've just kind of made up on my own as I go along. This is not dark enough. So I'm going to do a shade and a highlight layer, and then I'm probably going to mess with their opacity. And here I'm basically shading her overall shape as a mass, not like her individual limbs or anything like that. I'll go in a second and do that. But then I'll go in with a smaller brush and do, you know, slight line down the back of her arm, over the leg here. And again, this is going to get lightened up when I mess with the layer opacity. But while I have that selected, go up to my tone layer. We're going to go for this orangey yellow. We're going to go big again with that soft airbrush. We're going to go really big and really, really light on the touch. Then I'm going to go small again, sort of just smaller, and reverse what we did on the other way on the shade. Sorry. Get a little lost in the work sometimes. And then when I lighten the shade, that's it going away. I don't know, can you see that on the monitor? Yeah, you can. Here, let me zoom in. So I'm going to go probably to about, yeah, 57% is where we're calling the, wait, this is the, yeah, shade, 57. We're calling the, we're calling it. We're not letting the media call it. I'm calling it 57%. All right, and the tone, I think we're going to keep the tone at, yeah, pretty high, up in the 90s, because we're going to have a big glow on her. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I should name this layer. Let's see. I don't know what to call this one. I don't have any funny names for it, but we'll just call it color 1. And this is where I start experimenting a little. I go into my inking box, toolbox, and pull out my awesome color brush 2, which is a adapted inking tool that I have. And I sort of use it to mimic selection and airbrush techniques. So let's pick, that's the color I want to highlight with. I am going to select our girl again here. Oops. All right, let's select her. I'm going to go up to my color one layer and start playing around with highlight and shadow on her. See how big is this tool? All right, we're going to go to about 30% on the size of my brush. That's too big. Around 20. All right, so I'm going to add a sort of shadow layer. This will be the dark side that will push against this shadow line that I created in the ink layer. All right, I'm going to do that one again. And I will probably be reducing the opacity in this layer once I'm done with it, which will soften up some of the lines and the transitions. You can see it's starting to get the desired effect. She's going to be uplit by the Emberhawk nest that is in flames. Not sure about these transitions here yet, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so back to our highlight color. Same pen. I'm going to reduce the opacity on the bright color. And then when I go over it again, I'm cutting in a little shy to create a brighter layer or a brighter edge so that we've got this transition. So when you jump back, you can see the difference there. All right, so let's continue that effect onto here. So just like in my inking, when I talk about rounding out the shadow shapes like this, I do the same thing with the highlights sometimes. So go in, I'll do that without lifting the pen. Actually come down there. And then same thing as the other, as I did on the other side. Come in to do that second part. And then continue that process down here. I'm going off frame a little bit for a second. It's going off frame, watch out. Okay. And then same thing, gonna cut in a little. Actually, the hand, we're gonna go full glow on the hand. It's right in the fire. And there we go. But since we're getting closer to the fire, I'm gonna add a third one. So you see that tonal shift there. Not quite hard line, not too soft either. Oh, we got a music stoppage. What's going on? What happened, DJ? Shh. I'll open up my wallet later. For some reason it's not, I guess I'm not logged in. Weird. The Institute 91 has given us permission to, whoops, I'm going to YouTube. What am I doing? To use their music. The Institute 91.bandcamp.com. I think their whole discography, which is a handful of albums, awesome synthwave stuff. I think it was only like $20. They've become one of my favorite bands, thanks to Roost Puncher and Spencer Desmond and Jeff Elkins. All right, figuring out the highlights here on her face. I always want to add more detail to the ears. The ears always need to be treated as like one disc. I almost need to forget the lines or the folds of it. It would just be like that, maybe that. Okay. Went too far with that chin. There we go. You know what? I need to do one of those there. And same. We have one more there. We're gonna do one or two here. Let's pull back for a sec, see how that's going. And I'll be checking with the chat in just one sec. Let's see what's up with that music again. No, not YouTube. Get out of here. Looks like we got cut off line. No thanks. I have bought this. Should be. Oh, that's what it logged me out. Whatever. All right, so we're gonna go music free for a minute. I don't know why I did that. Should have downloaded it. Thought I did. All right, so let's get this going on her back leg. And we're going to do just a subtle one on the inside leg because we don't want to draw too much attention there. That not because, oh, it's her crotch or anything like that, but like we want more attention on her face. And I feel like if I made this all yellow, it just draws too much attention to that back leg. You want the back leg to drop behind a little bit. Take that up to the halfway or shadow line. I couldn't think of the word there. Shadow line. So it's kind of like inking with let's see, do I like that now? Shoot, I do like that now. I did go with a highlight on her back leg, which I said I wasn't going to do. But I do like kind of painting with an inking pen. It's got a fun effect. And it's a tool that I'm used to using. It's one of the things that makes me have fun coloring, so I don't shy away from using it. All right, we're gonna go with that for now. And then I'm gonna deselect and we are going to add a little bit of shadow and highlight to her outfit, whatever her toga. And then I will check on the chat and see if I can't get the music going again. So let's go up to the shade layer. I should have done this when I was doing all the shade stuff. Soft airbrush, and do like a darker orange. It's going to push against the light. Actually, I think I want to go deeper than that. With the color, gosh, with the color. All right, there we go. And I don't really need to push back with too much highlight. Just kind of balance it out there. And then we're going to go to our color 1 layer again, get our awesome color brush. And we're going to give sort of a rim light around the character because she is going to have a secondary light source coming from the entire nest. So we will have that effect going on too. Might be too much, but I think I'm going to keep it for now. Actually, it looks better through the camera. So I'm going to keep it for now. I may end up liking it. Let's see, I'm going to do a little bit there and there. I'll probably knock those back a little bit. And I do want to go a little darker there and there. Give a little color to her eye. A little warmth to her cheeks and nose. Yeah, I think that's starting to look okay. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's see who's shown up in the last few minutes. Faster. I don't know what Death Curse is talking about. Let's all just ignore Death Curse. Hey, William C., good to see you. Let's see. Oh, I don't have it on here right now. William C. did an awesome Hammerella sketch. I retweeted it on Twitter. I'm going to be snapping a picture of it and posting it on Instagram as well. I got to figure out what to do with all this awesome Hammerella art you guys have been doing this week. Especially, I got a piece from James Stone. My other homie James did a piece today. That's 2 James. That's right. I got a lot of James friends that like to draw Hammerella. We got William C's piece. We got animation from Pedro Ang, who I saw someone say, hey, Pedro. So, hey, Pedro, what's up? All right. Dance with the Dead has their whole discography up for $5 every couple months. I am going to check that out. Thank you for the suggestion. There he is. What is up, chat? Hello and hail to Pedro. Good friend Pedro Ang, Pedro Casedo over on Twitter. Give him a follow. All right, cool. Everyone getting to know each other. Yes, R2D2 for Life is another good friend and promoter of the Hammerella book. Probably better at it than I am. Sometimes I'll post and they'll have it up over on Instagram before I do, and have it up on Twitter. And I can't thank you guys enough for your promotion and your appreciation for the project. We only have I think 2,400, 2,300, something like that to go, and then we'll be fully funded. And we got 3 weeks, and we still got tons of promotion to do, a bunch of shows to visit. So I think we're gonna pull it off. Killer chickens are up. Yes, sir. I'm probably gonna be tackling them next. I don't know. I want to color something more interesting than, you know, the chicken might be kind of interesting. It might go kind of fast. Looks like we're going a little longer than I expected, but we'll we got so many of you here now. We'll keep going for a little bit. Oh, William C wants to see those killer chicks too. Ah, Eric Housel, looking good. My interest in Procreate grows. All right, cool. I'm not the best teacher. There are lots of techniques that are better than mine, but you know, it's what you got to deal with, man. If you're watching me, it is what it is. Simonin, I said chickens. I would like to see those chicks too. Chickadee chick. Yeah, you don't want to see this. You don't want this coming at you. No, thank you. I only have honest words to say. So thank you for being so kind. Those aren't the hot wings we ordered. All right, that's pretty awesome. There we go. All right, I'm actually sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself. We are going to go off camera for 1 second. Let me see if I can pull up the Institute 99 or 91 music that I want to pull up. I don't want to have I don't want to dox myself or anything like that, or actually look stupid trying to sign into a site and not be able to do it. I don't know why it kicked us off before. Let's get to that Sweet Institute 91 again. Feel free to ask any questions about Procreate in the chat. I'll get to those in just 1 second. You can hear me typing away, trying to pull up some cool music. Yeah, the Institute 91 was brought to my attention by Spencer Desmond and Jeff Elkins. They did the soundtrack for City of Rot. And you get that with the book, City of Rot. Sorry, I know I'm probably losing all my viewers here, but I want to bring the music back here. And it looks like we're gonna have it up in just 1 second. And we'll have a beat going. You guys don't have to just listen to me breathing and tapping on the screen. All right, so I don't know why I am having so much trouble getting this to play for me. Well, okay, so never mind. We're just gonna get back to work. I do not know why that is not working, but so we're gonna color this. We're gonna get to the health chicks now. It's not really what they're called, but that's what they look like. So freehand selection tool. You can tap and it creates its own straight lines. Then you can go in and freehand as well. I'm going to avoid the flames for now, not because they're hot, but because they're going to be a different color than the chick itself. The fledgling is actually what they're called. Baby hawk. And whew, I tell you, once you start studying predator birds like this, like these killer apex predators, man, they are seriously just dinosaurs. They are cruel to each other in the nest. They are cruel to whatever they start eating while it is alive. I mean, that's just nature. But yeah, when you start studying it, you're like, oh, look at these cute chicks, and you're like, oh, geez, that one just pecked out the other one's brains. So yeah, Hammerella does not want to get caught in the beaks of these mofos. So I do old school comic rules. I don't do detailed backgrounds on all the panels. I don't feel like that's skimping. I do give a lot of detail in some panels and on some pages, but sometimes for intensity's sake, I feel like less is more with the background. So on this particular panel, it may just be the red of the sky. It won't be the nest or the flaming nest in the background, because the red of the sky will just, it sort of intensify the moment. Almost like a dunt music strike. Like when the orchestra does that dunt, dunt. There, that's enough. Enough of that. Okay, I'm going to take one more look at our mother Emberhawk. How I thought I did her all one color. I didn't really separate the beak, so we could have just selected the beak as well. We're going to keep it to the outside of the beak and give the inside of the beak and the tongue their own flat separation. So animals are fun to draw. They are, I guess, difficult. I mean, everything's difficult to draw when you don't draw it. People are always like, oh, animals are hard to draw. Horses are hard to draw. It's like, everything's hard to draw until you draw it a bunch of times. Hands are always hard to draw. I'm not gonna lie there. Hands are always tough, but animals, once you realize their skull is just like a morphed form of a human skull, and that their musculature works in certain ways, and then you realize that, like, oh, a chicken leg works a similar way to a dog leg in this sense, and it's just pieces you put together. Oh shoot, talking and messed up my selection. It's all just pieces you put together, but it seems difficult. If you don't draw animals, it seems difficult, but draw a few animals and then all other animals start being easier to draw. Horses are tough, but once you learn some of the shapes that make up a horse, I mean, just watch a couple tutorials. It's not that big a deal, and then you'll be like, all right, I got this. I could draw a dog or a cow, because that's all the stuff you don't think about that you have to draw when you're making comics. You got to draw all that stuff. You're like, why do I want to practice drawing animals? Well, your super killer spy guy might crash land in a farm. That might end up in the script, and you do not want to draw stupid looking cows. You want to be able to draw animals as cool as you can draw your super spy guy, or cooler. I mean, you go and look at Mark Silvestri book, and he draws a dog or a cow or a horse as cool as he draws a person. Maybe not quite as sexy. Whoops. Want that to be this orange. All right, then we are going to select yellowish, brighter yellowish, the color yellowish for these eyes. I'm really happy with the way these eyes came out. And like all creatures on this planet, even the baby Emberhawks have multiple eyes. Some have 20 eyes in their head. 20 eyes in their head. 20 eyes. It's all the same. Sorry, now I'm singing Misfits. I don't have my Institute 91 beats going. Yeah, I don't know what caused it to log me out, and then when I logged back in, it wouldn't play my downloads. But we've been having weird internet trouble all day, so I hope I've even been maintaining live quality here. Pedro gets it. Pedro gets me, man. Excuse me. All right, we're gonna drop in these flames, and then figure out what color I want their mouth to be. I think their mouths will be same color as the flames. So again, when you already have one color selected and you're putting a color next to that one, you can cut over it thusly with your selection tool. I know the dotted lines don't show up well on camera. You can't really see them. But you know I am using the selection tool because I have told you so. You just gotta trust me. I'm not the news or politician, so you can trust me. I'm an inker you can trust. Even though I'm not really an inker anymore. I mean, I do ink my own work, but technically my job has not been an inker for quite a long time. I don't want to get pigeonholed. No bird pun intended. And also, there's 0 career for me as an inker. I don't like the books that I would be given. I don't like the page rate I would be given. I don't like most of the people that I've having to work with at the big 2 as an inker. I had a great run. But yeah, it is funny. People still like, I mean, I love inking. I love teaching inking. That's basically what I want to be known for mostly, is teaching a bunch of people that didn't know how to ink, and getting a bunch of people that were afraid to try inking. All right, let's drop in these mouths. There we go. This one we're gonna have to do a quick selection, and then we're gonna drop in that color background. See if I like it the red that I think I'm gonna like it at. Let's go here. Let's go down to our background layer, rectangle tool, and since I did the panels digitally, I can trust that they are perfectly on the grid. And you can hear my cat on his scratcher. All right, let's hit this red. Boom, menacing, terrifying. Re. All right, let me not hit the camera again. Let's take a look. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Make sure to tell your mamas to watch and have her hit like and subscribe. I'm here for her too. Yeah, Silvestri is so good. I mean, I know I did choose the best guy to look at. We all shouldn't compare ourselves to the best guy, but you can look at the best guy for inspiration and stuff. Or heck, if you got the gumption, step up and be the next guy. That's what I want to see. Ankle stone's connected to the leg stone connected to the hip stone. Golem Anatomy 101. What are you going to be, a golem doctor? You're bragging about your knowledge and your schooling? Simonin, your wisdom is beyond me. All right, Pedro got the reference. That's why I was saying Pedro got me. Heck yeah, Jobu. All right. Mother, tell your fledgling not to look my way. If you get me to sing, that's bonus points for you. Oh my gosh, I might have to kick Colin forever. What is this? Sadly, the Misfits never did it for me, but that being said, it took me 15 years to get the Ramones. You know, the Ramones didn't do it for me for a long time either. As a kid, I thought they were cool, and then my teens and early 20s, when I was really getting into more punk rock stuff, I was kind of like, they're just the corporate thing, this or that, blah, blah. Everybody loves them, and like I only wanted to listen to local bands, and I got all snotty about it. And later on, especially when I was hanging out with my nephew, um, he took to them really quick at a really, really young age, even before Spider-Verse and all that. And yeah, listening to them, I was like, hey, you know what? I actually really, really dig what they're doing. They have a classic sense of rock and roll that I love, and they actually do some really interesting things, transitions in their song, chord progressions, where it'll be just a 1-4-3 simple thing, but then they'll throw in something interesting and clever. And I've even seen what's left of them, the bass player and I think a drummer, I forget, but they play with the Aquabats, and we would take my nephew to see the Aquabats, watch them play. Dotted line do show. The dotted line do show, Ryan. Okay, cool. It's a natural selection tool. It is in this world. Definitely it is in this world. Being pigeonholed is for the birds. I see William C. Yes. Yes. Hopefully for these birds, hopefully she can find a hole to shove them in. Has anyone tried hiring you after you stopped being a professional inker? Yeah, I've had a few people reach out this year. I did have some DC editors sort of check the box on me, just kind of reach out, clear my address, or not clear my ad, but check my address and contact info and page rate, stuff like that. So I didn't tell them like, hey, don't ever contact me again, or I quit or anything, because you're not an employee. I've tried for years to be an employee and get contracts. Valiant dragged me along for a long time. They kept promising contracts were coming and never did. And then look what happened with them. And DC, they just basically laugh at you for an inker asking for a contract, because all they have to do is hang up with you and call the next guy who will do it for a lower page rate and not want a contract. And what I want with a contract is stuff like whatever pages I'm promised. If you say we want you to ink 24 pages, then I want 24 pages worth of work. And if you take those pages away from me because of someone else screwing up the deadline, I want a kill rate, a third or 2/3 or whatever of the page rate, which of course they don't want to agree to. And this is of course, I didn't walk in to the industry and start doing this. This was after years and years of getting screwed by pencilers and writers who really don't care about anyone else down the line. Those guys get paid so much and paid so well and get such great royalties and compensation that they will eat up as much time on their deadlines, because they know that the companies will just hire as many inkers as it takes to make the deadline and as many colors as it takes. And it doesn't matter that you're taking basically income away from other creative people who are willing to put in their time, effort, skill, and life to do this job. So I just got kind of fed up with that. Is you tough it out for over 10 years, and then you realize that hey, this isn't really there's no room for growth, and page rates keep getting cut and royalties keep getting cut for inkers, everything like that. So it's not an enticing field by any means. And but it's also, like I said, it's something you don't quit. You just, like, I stopped reaching out a long time ago. The last few gigs I had, I didn't reach out for at all. And I don't even remember what that was, a death stroke thing or something. And that was another thing where I wasn't going to take the gig, and they told me that they wanted me to finish up the arc. And so I finished the first issue. They were happy with everything, and they told me, wait a week or two and you'll get the next issue. And I waited a week or two, and then the pages didn't start rolling in. And I reached out to them a couple days later, and they said, "Oh, sorry, we forgot to tell you that we've moved on with another inker that the penciler is more familiar with." I was like, "Oh, okay. When was I gonna be let known that? Because you blocked me off for 4 months, and you said you needed me, and I was doing you a favor, and this or that." So that was kind of the last straw with them, which the last straw should have come long before that. Because I did quit. Not quit, but again, I stopped taking work, and I actually did tell a bunch of the editors not to contact me in, like, I don't know, 2013, 2014, 2014. Anyways, I'm like whining and lamenting here. It sounds, hopefully it doesn't come across as whining. I hate whiners. I hate whining. I'd rather nobody know anything bad's going on than sound like a whiner. Simonin says, "I'm sure Balderman is a hot commodity for many anchor spots on TV." Well, he would be, but he said a few things a few years ago that were sort of misconstrued, taken the wrong way. He's had a rough go of it, so that's why we're gonna invite him back on the channel. We know he's a good guy. We're gonna give him a place to deliver indie comics news. I was hoping he'd have a video today, but I think it's gonna be Monday or Tuesday. When he finally gets his first thing going, and then he'll have some regular segments going on the channel. Silvar Ogre says, "I worked as a gravedigger for 13 years. The shop was next to our pet section. Kept humming Pet Cemetery every morning. I just today, while I was working earlier, watched the episode of Zach Amico and his Midnight Spooky Show, where he had Dan Soder and what's his name? Oh my gosh, my boy, Shane Gillis. And they were watching Pet Cemetery. That was a really great episode. It was super funny. One of them hadn't seen it. One of them had seen it when he was 7 and hadn't watched it since because he was scared to death. And Zach Amico, of course, is a great host. Highly recommend that channel. Not whining. It's cool inside info. All right, cool. Yeah, it's tough because sometimes you want to be honest about how the stuff works, but you don't want to be like, "Oh, woe is me, I was working on a Batman book," because that's a super lucky, rare position to be in. I never want to seem like I'm taking any of that stuff for granted. Simonin says he could have been the Ron Burgundy of his generation, of this generation. Now, he still might be. He still might be Simonin. Of course, talking about Abe Balderman, who made his first appearance in a long time on last week's open mic night with Peter Samedi over on the Publishin' Pete channel. He could have been a contender. He also could have been a bartender. Zelda. Jobu says Zelda. I don't know if that's something, if these are similar to something in Zelda. What's funny is I've never actually played a Zelda game, but I was very inspired by a lot of the Zelda games for Gods and Gears, just for how we set up the universe and things like that. And that's because my wife's a huge Zelda fan, and she plays all the games. And I'm actually a big fan of the games for having never actually played them. I like the music, I like the art, I like watching her play. Yes, yes, basically, Colin, you are correct. I get what you mean, Colin says. You're just talking about how easy one can be exploited as a subcontractor. Yes, that is how that goes. So I don't ever name names or anything like that other than the company, because I don't know, most of the time dealing with the company just sucks. Yes, of course. Jobu, Zelda, one of the worst things in my teenage memory that I ever saw in a movie. that I never wanted to see again. And for 3 months after seeing Pet Sematary, all I did was see Zelda in any shadow of my house. Yeah, that horrifying stuff. Horrifying stuff. And even just thinking about her today while I was watching that episode of Zach Amiko's show, chills down the spine. Chills down the spine. So thank you, Jobu, for that. All right, William C. with the kind words saying, well, now you are a creator, penciler, inker, colorist, and YouTube celebrity. So screw those mean guys. Those meanie weenies with the dorkiest beanies. They don't wear cool ones. There's cool beanies out there that say Alterna, USA, things like that. Ty Iron Ranger says, took me forever to realize you play as a Link. Seemed like calling Mario Brothers Princess Toadstool. So true. Yeah, video games can be funny like that too. Yeah, Zelda, played by a man. But strong enough for a woman. Thank you, Silvar. Don't apologize for being a classy pro. Well, you know, I gotta try, because the class is an act. You have to, otherwise, you know, because I'm a big trash talker. I like to talk the trash, but it doesn't do me any good to say this guy promised me this or that. Me. Someday, maybe that'll be my expose. I'll finally tell you who all the jerks were. This is basically all it is. It's people are jerks. So I don't even like to make it personal. Just like, oh, that stuff happened to me when I worked at that company. That stuff has never happened to me when I'm operating on independent comics and having fun on my own. All right, now here you can see where I've made a mistake. This is supposed to be my color 1 layer, which is where we do all of our highlights, bright and final highlights on our figure. And I've gone and made the flats for the birds on that layer. So here's what we can do to fix that. I am going to take my freehand select tool. I'm going to draw right around them. I'm going to copy and paste. Oh no, we're already at maximum layers. We can ditch that one. We're going to do the same thing again. Freehand. Get those bad boys. Copy and paste. While it's still selected, drop back down to the original layer. Clear that. Now it's back to just the highlights. Bring this down above your flats layer. Then tippity tap. Merge down, which you couldn't see because I left the very kind comment by Silvar up. And there's a workaround if you make a mistake with your layers. So you cut and paste, then remove from the previous one, drop the cut and pasted piece down above the layer you want it to be in, and then collapse those down. I need some water because my L's are getting hard to say. All right, you guys are talking with each other. I am going to work a little on this background. I am going to select just that. And we're going to get to painting a little bit. See how I want to paint this nest. I don't even know yet. Let's see. We're going to go to our painting section. We are going to pick a jagged brush. I'm going to check the size. And I'm just going to start painting a little bit. I do want the bottom, the floor layer to be brighter than this background wall of the nest. So I'm going to make sure that happens, but I still might paint a little over that. Some darker tones and lighter tones crisscross and highlight or shadow some of the individual sticks a little. I don't know yet. But this is already working for me. So here I might go really small with the brush and sort of paint highlights up against these black lines to sort of help imply that it is uplit and that those black lines are the shaded side of the sticks and branches that make up the nest. Don't like that one. These also frame her. So she's kind of got two layers that are framing her. The foreground elements, which are the chicks here in the dark red, they frame her, and then we've sort of got the shadows of those sticks framing her again even tighter. Frame, I want to frame forever. Frame and a frame and a frame, frame. Oh, Apple Pencil battery is low. All right, we've been going for an hour and 21. We're gonna go till the pencil dies. Maybe a couple minutes, maybe a couple seconds. I'm gonna keep working because I really want to get this panel finished in one episode. So anyone watching, which God bless you guys for watching and hanging out and asking questions. I love that you guys chat with each other too. I sort of want this to be like a studio hangout. And this week I am going to be bringing some folios in with me to ink along. And then we are going to do an ink along, I think, Wednesday night, an official ink along where I have the file ready for you guys to print up. I don't think I've ever seen, got an accent there for a second. I don't think I've ever seen William C. do an ink along. I'm going to challenge him to do one because I think it'd be awesome. And that is, I will be doing a headshot of a character, not sure which one yet. I'll provide the file, you guys print it up, and like the title of the videos and the series implies, you ink along. And it's not about how well you ink it. I want to stress that. It's about being brave enough to ink a piece by somebody else and stepping out of your comfort zone as a creator. Because that's what I've learned the most about people in inking is they're afraid to do it, whether they're inking over themselves or they want to ink over other people, which again, not a good career choice, but it's a really fun craft and a really fun thing to do. One of my favorite things to do is ink over other people's work. And get paid to do it. All right, gonna do one more pass of more highlights now, just in select areas. So this is coming along pretty good. And I'll get more of this done tonight. I don't know if I'll get it finished. If I don't get it finished, I will be back on tomorrow, coloring more of it during the day. I don't want to do it at night because I'm going to do something on late night inks tomorrow night. But I will be on Skits tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Then 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, I will be on the Geronimo Draws channel for a draw stream. And then following that, I will be on the Death Curse channel with the Death Curse Gang. And we will be doing a draw along there. And I do have to warn you, the discussions over there tend to skew into the adults only and the cancellation territory and stuff like that. So only show up if you do not have tender ears. I tend to be PG-13 most of the time, but those guys bring out the worst in me, and I have to apologize now. All right, this is not what I expected to do with it, but I'm really happy with this effect now. All right, I don't even know what's going on in the chat now. Staying busy, that's great. Eric Housel. Swords or pistols, William? Colin Swinburne. Or if you want to get calloused ears, yes, you listen to Death Curse to toughen up your ears. It gives you cauliflower ears on the inside, not on the outside. It toughens up your eardrum and makes it thick and calloused. Welcome, Unhinged Entertainment. Hail. I don't know if you were there before, but I'm seeing you now. Hail, Apple Pizza Liberty, The Taint, Japanese punk rock song. I was just thinking cream pies. Gun swords at 12 paces. Always, gun swords are always a good time, especially at 12 paces. All right, I want to try one more highlight. Let's go to my awesome inking tool. I still have another minute or so until this my Apple Pencil dies on me. So I want to do, where am I? I don't even know where I am. I'm on the wrong layer. Let's go back up to our highlight color layer. And I want to see if doing one more sort of hint at highlight, if that's too much. I don't think it is. I think it's gonna pop her nicely, which means she will be even more visible for the fledglings to attack her. Because contrary to popular belief, I don't think birds and dinosaurs care if you're moving or not. I think they just want to eat you. Okay, yeah, actually, I am happy with this. We're gonna highlight this hand. We're gonna highlight anywhere touching the flames. And just barely coming up there and there. Yep, I think I'm very happy with that. William C. Ryan, do you listen like the Japanese heavy band Boris? They pretty much rule, in my opinion. You know, I think I've heard them. I'm gonna look them up after this. My problem is I'm horrible with band names. I could have a couple albums by somebody and I'll be like, nah, I never heard of that guy. And then the next day I'll be looking at my albums and I'm like, oh, I do have their album. Oh yeah, I like this song and this song. And I'm horrible with song titles. So I'm gonna look into that. I still have the note you gave me the other day. I forgot to look into that band. The it's over here something, the Teenage something, the synth band. So I'm super curious about that. Most of my music comes from people's suggestions too. So thank you for that, William C. I'm gonna have to make a note of that for us. Yeah, I think I have heard them. All right, listen to Dog Fashion Disco. You're welcome. I've heard that name too. All right, you guys bear with. I'm literally handwriting these down. Dog Fashion Disco. All right. Yeah, I want to find more bands like Institute 91 that will let me play them on the stream too, and sort of make this more like a radio art show. So I'm going to be showcasing some local bands from California, like my friends Drac and the Swamp Rats. They only have a few songs, so it's going to be tough. I want to mix it up with some other bands. But I'm going to start reaching out to people and getting permission. Let's see. I'm still playing with how much highlight to use. Oh, that's too much. The ones above her eyes, too much. Yeah. Gonna leave it like that. Okay, I want to try one more thing that's going to be really subtle. No, we're not going to do a subtle thing. I'm going to try to paint one of these birds really quick. We still have some juice in the pencil. We still have gas in the tank. How far can we push it? We'll keep the pedal to the metal. Select. And let's go up to our color 1 layer. Let's see if this brush does what I want it to do. I don't think the jagged brush is right. No, that's not what I used on her mother. I forget. Might have been Oriental brush from the East. Yes, it very much was this. And that was you that heard the gong sound when I said that in your own head. Not me. So what's great about some of these brushes is that they react as if your paint is wet. So it mixes in and drags some of the other color around with it. And that will help me get this flame-like effect here. Just setting the chicks on fire with my pen and my pencil. Do. See, I did make the mistake. I should have made the mouth a separate color. So I'll be going in and making it some sort of orange and red transition that stands out a little because I want it to have a glow coming from within. All right, now I'm going to go back to a reddish orange and go like this for a second because I kind of want to get some play with the light effect. And you do that by having some dark and then painting over it with light. But sometimes I kind of do a little bit of the opposite first. I go in and paint some of the light first and then kind of see where I want to hit with the dark, and then I'll end up going over that. Oh, I'm leaving comments up. My bad. All right, and I'll be checking comments for questions in just a sec. Like I said, we only have a little bit of time left with this brush, or with this pencil. The battery is dying. And we're gonna be Kramer in that episode of Seinfeld where he's pushing the gas tank to the limit. I usually don't like to let stuff get dragged down like that, get the juice dragged down, but for the sake of the live show, we got to keep the work going. All right, already I'm happy with the choice. The Ember Hawk is starting to feel like its feathers are slightly on fire. I almost think of like the oil, like because birds are actually kind of oily. I think about that as like a flammable fluid that's just burning off of it. All right, now we're gonna hit some white, and that's way too much white. We're gonna go lower opacity, and this jagged oriental brush is gonna help us flame up this bird. Yeah, here we go. All right, so we won't be able to completely finish this panel, but we got the other panel done. And we did figure out the brushes we want to use for this. I'm gonna have to go back in and paint that mouth like I said. And who knows, I might be able to go live again later tonight, but this will probably be it for tonight. Screech, screech, screech. All right, my pencil has died. So I am going to scroll through the comments really quick. Let me see if we can, let me see what the time lapse looks like on this guy. We can have that going while I check comments. This is, I drew the page in my sketchbook, took pictures of it, dropped it into Procreate, and then got to work. Did the panels and then moved everything around. Let me see what's a good. There you go. All right, cool. William C. as well, writing down those bands. Ah, yes, you could use this one band I've heard called The Taint. I'll have to look into The Taint and see if I will let myself use my own music. I mean, see if they'll let me use their music. Silvar Ogre says, you know I'm an Xer since the only Japanese bands I know are L'Arc-en-Ciel and Tokyo Kano. Should say Kano. Tokyo Kano. Excuse me. Hydrate myself there a little. Ah, Yoko Kano. Yes. Flaming Bird sounds like barbecue chicken, says Colin Swinburne. He knows what's on my mind for sure. Some barbecue chicken would be great. The lady is the best soundtrack writer and performer for anime. Oh, I saw a name up there. Okay. You guys are having your conversation. Oh, man, and just jumped on me again. Eric Housel, thanks, Ryan. Looking forward to seeing more. Hammerella, Hammerella. There, you got me singing high now. Singing it, going high. Get that pitch. Aloha from a Jobu. Sends an aloha to Unhinged Entertainment. Aloha and mahalo for your cooperation. Flaming Bird, isn't that Big Bird? Isn't that street fighting Big Bird? So in the time lapse, we just jumped to pencils, and I did blue line, like fat pencils, just blocking everything in, and this now it's going into detail, but it's hard to see in there. So we'll jump up to, here's me drawing that, penciling that the bird details in the panel we just worked on. Unhinged Entertainment. He is currently working on a commission. I'm sorry, let me quote him. I'm currently working on a commission for the Kill Journal. Love what Ryan has been doing. Thank you, Unhinged. I'm super excited about the Kill Journal. My homie Jason Krager is doing some work on that. I was unfamiliar with, I believe the writer's name is Adam Lawson. I was unfamiliar with him, but he's been on Pete Sammetti's show and a couple other channels, and he seems like a fun guy, and seems like Kill Journal is going to be really, really fun. All right, so then I'll jump ahead really quick. You can just sort of see that I hit the inks. That's sort of the process on what I did there. And then we jump to the colors that we did tonight. So thank you guys for joining me. And if you haven't checked out Hammerella, the link is in the description below. We've got 21 days left and about 19% to go. So that's only 2,300. I think we can do it. We're only about 6 backers away from reaching the 10,000 goal. I'd like to reach that in the next few days. That's my goal I'm going to be pushing hard for. And Hammerella thanks you for sticking with her. She's got quite a story to tell, and we hope to get it out sooner than later. So if I missed your question, if you have a question about anything at all, inking, coloring, Procreate, life in general, if I missed it, go ahead and ask below, and I will get to answering that. Also feel free to check back. I will have links for Institute 91 down below and a couple other the places that I'm going to be. Check me out tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Skits channel. And then Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern on Robert Geronimo's channel, Geronimo Draws. And then later that night, if you've got the stomach for it, I will be over on Death Curse. So once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for all of your support, your friendship, your roasts, and kind words as well. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take it easy.